welcome back to the channel. My name is Josiah, and today we're going to be learning a very cool trick. This trick is called Apex Aces, okay? Now, this is a very interesting trick. I've gotten a lot of great reactions with this trick, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys today. It's really something I've been planning to do for a while now. I haven't ever really gotten to it, but now I finally have. Sorry about kind of the non-upload thing. I just got lazy. No excuse for that. But yeah, I'm really excited to teach this very cool trick with you to you guys today. Sorry, can't speak. Anyway, I don't really have much to say about it, so let's just get into the video. All right, in this video, we're going to be using the Blueberry Mint playing cards by 52 cards. I've used these before on the channel, and they are really great playing cards. They held up really well. Really my favorite deck of cards ever. So anyway, let's just get into it. So for this trick, what are you going to need? Well, you're just going to need an ordinary deck of cards, but you're also going to need the 4 aces, okay? So now this trick is completely impromptu, which means you can do it anytime, anywhere. You can do this literally with any deck of cards. You just have to pull out the 4 aces at the beginning of the trick. So you can just, go through the cards and take out the 4 aces. But to make this tutorial a little bit quicker, I went ahead and took out the 4 aces anyway. So I recommend you just casually kind of reorder the 4 aces, and you want to put the ace of spades in the 3rd position, and the reason why is because that will allow us to end the trick with the ace of spades being the last card to disappear. It's just a nice little addition to the trick. It makes it a little bit better in my opinion. But anyway, okay, so we have this ace of spades here. Now, again, I'm going to bring back something I did in a few videos before. Since this is another trick where we're actually going to be using sleight of hand stuff, in the corner of the screen, I think down here somewhere, over here somewhere, I'll have a little screen that's going to be everything that I'm doing mirrored. So if you're left-handed, you're going to follow it. Everything I'm doing, you're in that screen, okay? But for right-handed people, just follow what I'm doing in the main screen here, okay? So you begin with the 4 aces. You can set them aside on the table or whatever. You're going to begin by having the spectator select 3 cards, or having 3 spectators each select a card. Now, this is actually an optional part of the trick. You don't have to do this in the trick. You can just start by making the aces disappear, but I think it's really nice to do this as part of a routine where you have spectators select cards and then, make the aces disappear and reappear, with the 3 cards sandwiched in between. It's just a nice little routine. So you have a spectators select 3 different cards. Okay, so in this case, we'll just use these 3 cards here, whatever these happen to be. So in this case, we have the 8 of spades, king of clubs, and 8 of hearts. Okay, so these are our 3 randomly selected cards. And all you have to do is you just have to control these to the top of the deck. Now, in the intro, the way I did it was very simple. I simply placed them on top of the deck and then used a top retention overhand shuffle. And I haven't really taught this on the channel. I don't think I might have. But just a quick tutorial for this version and for this overhand shuffle. It looks like an overhand shuffle, but basically here's how you do it, okay? And this is going to require some practice to do, but this is just one example of how you can control these cards. You're going to begin by doing a standard overhand shuffle. However, after you pull off the first chunk of cards, which includes these 3 cards on top, your 3 selected cards, you're going to pull off a single card and you're going to down jog it, right? In jogged. Sorry. I had to think of the word right here. I wanted to say out jog, but this is technically in jogged. You in jog a card, and then you shuffle the rest regularly on top. So what you have is basically, from the front, it looks basically just like a regular overhand shuffle, but from the back, you can see that we have all the cards, but in the middle of it, we have, or I guess more toward the bottom, we have 1 card sticking out, 1 card in jog, 1 card sticking out toward us. That's what in jogged means, in case you didn't know. Quick little magician tip for you. If you ever hear someone refer to something as out jogged, that typically means it's a card or multiple cards that's sticking out toward the front of the deck. If it's in jogged, it's toward the back, okay? But either way, this is in jogged, and basically this acts kind of like a bookmark. It marks the spot in the deck where our selected cards were. If we go up, it's right on top of our 3 selected cards, and it basically just marks that position for us. So all we have to do is use our thumb to push up on that card and push inward, and that allows us to use our thumb to grab a little bit of a break right above our top packet of cards. So we just do a regular shuffle, we shuffle down to the break, and then we throw everything beneath the break on top. And what that does is it leaves us with these 3 cards, or 3 selected cards on top, even though it looks like we thoroughly shuffled them. Okay, so at full speed, it looks like this. And of course, now we have our 3 cards on top. Okay, there are many other types of ways to control 3 cards to the top. There are some ways you could control 3 cards to the bottom and then just shuffle them up to the top. Or you can just control each of the cards separately, one at a time to the top. I just like to speed up the trick by doing something like that, where I'm just casually controlling the 3 to the top, okay? Maybe you can add a few false cuts in there, you know, something like this, anything like that. Anyway, you just need to have these 3 cards on top, okay? Whoops, okay. All right, after you do that, you're gonna take these 4 aces out, and what you need to do is you need to get a break beneath the top 3 cards of the pack, okay? So you can do this in a few ways. The way I did in the performance, or the intro, I guess, was that as I kind of casually show these, I kind of casually show these 4 aces. I casually push these 3 cards off, and underneath I just use my pinky finger to grab a break as I squared up the cards. And what that does is it gets me a break beneath these 3 cards, okay? Another option would be to do a pinky count, which that's something that I haven't taught yet on the channel. I don't plan to teach here. It's quite a bit more advanced, okay? But allows you to get a break underneath 3 cards. Any way that you want to do it, just get your break underneath these 3 cards, and then casually bring all of the aces back on top. Now what you should have is you should now have a break beneath 7 cards, okay? And your break should, all the cards above your break, and those 7 cards include the 4 face-up aces and the 3 face-down selections, okay? At this point, what you're going to do is you're going to pick up at the break. You're going to use your thumb to lift from the break, lifting up the cards in biddle grip, which is something we've taught on the channel before. You're going to use your thumb to slide off the first ace. And here's the deal. When you're holding something like this in biddle grip, it's important to note angles, because if you accidentally tilt too far forward or backwards, you can flash these bottom cards. So you want to make sure you hold your hand relatively flat and relatively close to the table as well. Casually will allow you to hide those cards. Plus, biddle grip keeps you from the front. These fingers cover the front of the deck in biddle grip, so it makes sure that the spectators can't actually see how thick this packet is. Because obviously if they saw this, they'd realize, well, that's kind of a thick packet for 4 cards. But it covers that front. And the back is mostly covered by the thumb. And this side is also kind of covered by this hand. The only side where you can flash the side of the packet is from your left, okay? Or if you're doing this left-handed, obviously it's your right, okay? But either way, okay, from this side here, whatever this side may be, depending on what screen you're focusing on right now, that's where this is flashing from, okay? So you want to make sure you have that covered. And the best way to do that is just kind of keeping it close to the table. Plus, if you kind of hide it, if you hide it behind the hand that's holding the deck of cards, this helps because now they see this. They don't see what is actually happening, okay? So you're here in this position. What you're going to do from here is you're going to slip off. You use your thumb to slide this first ace off onto the top of the pack and then replace the rest of these on. I like to do this kind of circular motion. It's really magical looking. Turn your hands over and then you can snap. But what that did is it placed all the cards of the break on top of the ace. So the ace is now at the bottom of these 3 face-down cards. So now when you spread through the aces, it looks like that ace has vanished. Now you don't want to spread this far because then you'll see that ace. So all you do is you spread these 3 aces, you spread 2 cards, and you can show it here. If you want to add an extra subtlety to really, this was enough for people to believe that it's gone, because what they believe, the spectator believes happened is you took the 4 aces, you put 1 ace on the bottom of those 4 aces, and now it's gone. It's not, it should be here, but it's not, okay? So what you can do, you can spread 2 cards. You can also just do a block push spread, which is just when you are pushing off a chunk of cards and then spreading more cards, and that will allow you to hide that ace, okay? But I don't normally do that. I think it's kind of unnecessary. You don't ever really need it normally unless you're dealing with like a heckler. Then you can do that, okay? So then you're going to get your next break underneath the top 2 cards, and by casually spreading 2 to kind of show it's not here, that also gives you a justification for getting your next break underneath the top 2 face-down cards, which are still selections. You take the next ace, you slip it off, and replace these cards here just like this. You snap, make whatever magical move you want. And once again, you can spread these 2 cards, show it's not here, you spread 1 more card. Obviously, if you spread another, it'll flash that ace. Once again, you can spread here and show it's gone, okay? Now, one important thing to note is when you spread like this, be sure not to turn over your hand like this with one of the selections in this hand, because they'll flash that. You don't want that to be flashed, okay? And once again, you can still do a block push spread. Now, you're going to switch the places of the aces. Switch the places of the aces. I don't know. While getting your break underneath this top card again. You can kind of guess how this works, okay? Because you just have to get a break underneath the top card now. Make sure that the ace of spades is on the bottom of the two aces. Slip this next ace off, replace it, and now you can show the ace of spades here, and then you can do a block push spread to show that those other aces are gone, completely vanished. Now at this point, you have a few options as to what you could do. In the performance, I did a classic pass, but that's a little, but I think that's a little advanced for now. Okay, at least where we're at on the channel right now. So I'm not going to be mentioning that version of it. I just added that version of it because it looks kind of cool. What I'm actually going to show you to do is, with this ace, what you can do is, basically you can do something like a turnover pass or a Herman pass. I'm not teaching those quite yet though. So what I recommend you do at this point, if you're not doing a classic pass, because I'm, thinking about the future of this channel when people are doing classic passes and coming to this video and thinking, okay, this will be good. And if you are someone who's watching, a magician who's watching this, and you can do something like a classic pass, then go ahead and do it at this point. It's really a really cool way to do this trick. Sorry, I dropped the card. But what I recommend you do is you get your break underneath. In the very beginning, you do this. So this is just a voiceover of this part of the video, because when watching the video back, I realized the way I explained it is kind of confusing, and really, I think it would have a lot of people would have spent time like, what does he mean there? So let me clarify what I should have said at this point. So when you're first controlling the 3 selected cards at the top at the beginning of the trick, you want to make sure that you control those 3 cards at the top and then control an extra random card on top of them. Okay, so that way at the top of the deck, instead of having the 3 selected cards, you have a random card and then the 3 selected cards. From here, you would proceed as usual with the first 3 aces, except for when you're getting your break underneath the top cards for each phase of the routine. So before each ace vanishes, you're just going to add an extra card to your break. So for instance, for the first ace, instead of getting your break underneath 3 cards, you're going to get your break underneath the top 4 cards. And for the second ace, instead of getting your break underneath the top 2 cards, you're going to get your break underneath the top 3 cards, so on and so forth, and that will allow you to do this variation. And now, what you should end up with is, if you've done this correctly, you should have, underneath the face-up ace of spades, you should have a random card and a selection. And if you do that version of this trick, then that should work. At this point, all you have to do is you just can do something like the earned ace color change, which I've taught on the channel. I'll leave a link in the description to that video. And what that will do is it'll make that ace disappear, okay? And that's all you really have to do for this part. There are a few other versions of this, but I'm just going to be showing you that. So now what you should have is on top of the deck, you have a random face-down card, and then you have the 4 face-up aces with one of the selections sandwiched in between them. If you've done this correctly, that should be the situation you're in. So just to recap, we'll take the 4 aces here. You have 3 random cards selected and controlled to the top. You control another card on top of them for this version of it anyway. You get a break underneath 4 cards. Make sure the ace of spades in the second, third position, okay? You place these 4 aces on top. And then you do this. You make first ace vanish. Get your break underneath 3 cards. Make the second ace vanish. Get your break underneath 2 cards. Switch the places of the aces. Make the third ace vanish. And then with the 4th ace, you can show the cards that vanished. And then you do an earned ace color change. And this version, though, I think is really beautiful because you get this moment where that card actually just completely disappears right there, okay? Really great. Okay? And after you do this, at some point, while you're talking to your spectator, you can just casually cut the deck of cards. And what that will do, it'll place those cards in the middle. And now, of course, you can do a little dribble. You can do something like this, okay? Which I don't, if you want to like just dribble the top portion of cards like that, okay, that works. You can just do a casual quick dribble. But at this point, you just spread the cards out. You can do a ribbon spread, taught that on the channel before. Show the 4 aces, you take them out, and then you can slowly reveal and even have the spectator reveal the 3 selected cards sandwiched in between the aces. All right? And that is the entire trick pretty much, okay? So I hope that made sense. This is one of those tricks that you're probably going to have to go back and watch the tutorial or section of the tutorial multiple times to really get it down and really understand it. All right, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. I hope you really enjoyed this trick. Again, if you want to use this same deck of cards, the Blueberry Mint playing cards, really great deck of cards, check the link in the description for that. And yeah, see you in the next video.